Welcome to the Daily Devotional Podcast with author, pastor, and speaker Zach Maldonado, a podcast about helping you know and enjoy Christ each day.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Daily Devotional Podcast. I'm so glad that you are tuned in and that you're part of this community, and I just hope that this is an encouragement to you. Did you know that Jesus prays for us, that He prayed for you, and that He continually prays for us? We're going to be looking at John 17, but in a second, we're going to do that. But I want to reference another verse, Romans 8:26. It talks about how the Spirit helps us in our weakness. I know there's many men and many women listening to this right now, and sometimes the message we think that part of the Christian life is that we need to be strong, that we need to be better and be strong, and we're growing more and more independent. But that's not it. The Christian life is not about growing independent. The Christian life is about growing more and more dependent upon God. It's about trusting God more. It's about letting Him do for us what we could never do on our own. So guess what? You get to be weak. You get to live weak because God's grace is sufficient for you. You get to be weak. You get to live weak. You don't have to be strong. Christ is the one that is strong for you. So in your weakness, and it's okay if you feel weak, I feel weak often, Jesus actually prays for us. He actually is interceding on our behalf, not begging God the Father, but the Trinity is with us. And they all know what we need, and they're communing with us, and they're speaking to us, and they're helping us, and they're comforting us, and they're loving us, and they're suffering with us, and they're in our pain with us. They're not far off, but Christ is in. In John 17, I love this passage, and there's so much here, but I just want to hit on a few things. And this is where Jesus is praying for us. One, He says, in verse 17, He says, sanctify them in the truth. He says, set them apart in truth. Did you know that one of the goals of Jesus, the Father, and the Spirit is to lead you into truth, and that truth is a person? And as you know the truth will set you free. And the Spirit is bringing to remembrance all the things that God has taught you. And so Jesus is always pointing you to truth. It goes on to say that that they all may be one, just as you, Father, are in me and I in you, and they also may be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. I talk about this often, but do you recognize that you're one with Christ, that you're one with the Father? You're sealed by the Spirit. You're indwelt by the Son. You're in the Father's hand, and the Father's in you, and you're in the Father. The entire Trinity is with you. As my friend Drew says, anywhere you go, there's four of you. Isn't that beautiful? It's beautiful. You're never, ever alone. It goes on to say, the glory that you have given me, the honor, the glory that you have given me, I have given to them. God, Jesus has given us the honor and glory that He deserves. That's grace. This means that Jesus, that God, He respects us, He loves us, He trusts us, He knows us, and He so loves us that He treats us exactly like He would treat Jesus. That's what that means. I and them, and you and me, verse 23. Wow. I and them, and you and me, that they may be perfectly one. The world may know that you sent me and loved them, even as you loved me. Father, I desire that they also, whom you have given me, may be with me where I am. I love that. I love that. And so God, Jesus, is praying for us, and He's praying that, one, we would know that we're one with Him. Two, that we would know that the Father is for us. You can read all of John 17, and it's beautiful. He talks about us praying for us and the Father keeping us from the evil one. And John tells us this again, that the evil one cannot touch us, that we're safe and we're sealed by the Holy Spirit, that we're kept with God, that nothing can snatch us away from God. that we have the joy of Christ, that we have his peace, that we have Jesus living inside of us, that we're not of this world, that we're of Christ, that we're in him. And I love this because I don't know about you, but life can be difficult. Life can be tiresome. Life can be burdensome. Jesus is not. He's not that way. And sometimes I don't know the words to pray. I don't know the words to say. And Jesus is praying for me. Jesus is helping me. Jesus is interceding for me. Jesus is for me. And sometimes the best prayer is, God, help. God, help me. So it doesn't have to be King James English, thou shalt not, blah, blah, blah. Simply cry out, knowing that Jesus is praying for you, knowing that Jesus is for you, knowing that God absolutely adores you, that even at your worst, he adores you, that even in your darkest moments, he's for you, that there's never a moment that God will stop doing what God has always done, and that is before you, that is love you, and that is pray for you. Once again, Romans 8:26, the same way the Spirit also helps our weakness, for we do not know what to pray as we should, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. So go read through John 17. I know it'll encourage you. And he ends with this: I made known to them your name, and I will continue to make it known, that the love with which you have loved me may be in them and I in them. In Jesus' prayer, all that he prayed in John 17 was answered. We've been given his glory. We've been sanctified in truth. We've been given Jesus. We're in the Father. And the love that the Father has for Jesus, he has for us. It's been poured into our hearts, Romans 5:5. Just bask in that. The same love, to the same extent God the Father loves God the Son, he loves you. Take that in for a second. You're as loved as Jesus himself. Have a great, great day.
You've been listening to the Daily Devotional Podcast with Zach Maldonado. Join us each day for a new devotional that will help you know and enjoy Christ. For more great content from Zach, including his books, sermons, and more, check out ZachMaldonado.com.